Hello, everyone. We are very happy to see Heather joining us today for the client interview. If you are watching live, hashtag live. If you're watching replay, hashtag replay. And yes, I will give a word to you, Heather, if you can just introduce yourself and tell a little bit about yourself and how you found us.
Sure. Yeah. Hi, everybody. My name's Heather Sanchez, and I'm from California. Actually, from the Midwest originally, live in California now, and have three kids, all different ages, from high school down to elementary school. And anyways, I found Scott and Vida through Instagram when I started just exploring starting my vegan journey.
Amazing. And Heather, we're so happy you found us. We love working with you, and we are now even in the phase 2. So you already completed the initial program, and now you had a urge to keep going, keep growing, and get to the next level. So maybe you can tell right away to people what kind of encouraged you to continue and get to another phase.
Yeah, I made so much progress in the initial program, and I really just wanted to continue having some accountability. And I knew that, especially with the holidays coming up, that I just wanted to have that regular check-ins continue, and make sure I was continuing to do my exercises and my watching my TDEE and
yes.
yeah.
Yes, amazing, Heather. So you already said yourself that you had a lot of wins. You experienced big progress. So can you tell people what have you achieved throughout the program? What maybe surprised you the most? And most importantly, what you learned the most?
Yeah, I started the program just really knowing that I needed to change something. I had kind of a health scare, and that's why I was starting to explore a vegan diet and had heard about all the benefits of that. And I was really focused on weight loss. But the thing that really surprised me the most was that, I realized my biggest problem was mental, that was, because I've done nutrition and diet things before, and it just didn't work. And I would quit, or it was like some kind of 6-week crazy plan where I would, practically be starving and working out like crazy and getting very little results and just being miserable. And so I kept going through this. And so I started realizing that honestly, the hardest part for me was facing a lot of like mental and emotional things that had been holding me back. And so working through those was what really started to help me.
Amazing. That's music to my ears, because we always say that usually the mindset work is the last puzzle piece so many people are missing. Like you said, you can do these crazy diets and you can lose weight, but what's the point if that weight is regained, right? And it always is if you do some kind of restriction, and it never works because it's just like surface. It's not like the root causes being addressed. And like you said, emotional well-being, mental well-being, that's what we need to focus on, and then body just follows like a natural byproduct. So what would you say would like maybe some example about some kind of discovery about yourself through that kind of mental and emotional point of view? Is there anything to share?
Yeah, I realized I've been living so long with so much guilt, and always being really, really hard on myself and talking really bad to myself. Like, I don't think that until I stopped to really, be more self-aware about it, that I started realizing how in my mind I talk to myself. I mean, saying really horrible things like you're disgusting and, you know, this kind of stuff. And that would just like perpetuate the problem, you know. And so, I mean, it was unbelievably like freeing to me to like start talking to myself better, you know, and to like empower myself with the things I would tell myself. And, you know, and not feel bad, you know, and feel like, you know, it needs to be enjoyable. Like you guys would always say that, you know, it needs
Yes.
to be enjoyable if you want to be able to continue doing that. And so, you know, I would always beat myself up in the past, you know, and so I had to learn to just stop doing that, you know, so that I could free myself of that.
Wow, that's beautiful and so important for so many people to hear, because we believe that guilt is one of the most detrimental emotions we can feel, because like you said, it really just expands into the bigger problem. So giving yourself grace and, you know, time to progress, like you said, feeling free from that guilt is just such a beautiful feeling. And because you don't carry anything on your shoulders, you are so much lighter, figuratively and literally, to move on and to progress with your journey. I remember also one example from our journey together before a yoga session we were doing on Zoom. I remember you were expressing your just telling about your week, and you said it was very stressful at work, and you know, and you said everyone always wants something from me, I feel overwhelmed. And you said, and I told them, that's it, you know, you can reach me just on certain hours, otherwise I'm not available. And I said, you know, Heather, you first time ever set boundaries for yourself. That's one of the most healthiest things you can do for yourself. And it comes from self-love. You start loving and respecting yourself. So you set boundaries, and didn't that feel great?
Yeah, I mean, that was huge for me, is because, you know, I have a really stressful job, and I'm sure like a lot of people, and excuse me, and I just felt like, you know, this duty to always be there for everybody. Like I got to be there for everybody at work. I've got to, you know, be there for everybody so that I do really, really well in my job because I provide for my family. And, you know, and then also boundaries, even like with my own family, you know, to where I was like, you know, constantly available and never taking any time at all, like for myself. And that was a really hard concept for me because it made me feel very selfish.
Yeah.
But it was like I started to realize, you know, working myself to death and, you know, literally like working myself to sickness, you know, is making me not be there for anybody and not be there for my family, you know. And so it didn't make sense anymore.
It's so important thing you just said, Heather. A lot of times we do feel that, you know, prioritizing ourselves is selfish, but actually this is self-love and not selfish, because how we can be there for our loved ones, like you say, if we are depleted inside, you know, we can't, we don't have energy, we don't have drive. And especially, like you said, if you bring yourself to the point of even sickness, then your loved ones have to take care of you, you know. So actually, not prioritizing yourself, it's really detrimental. So we always say that you know, it's very important to prioritize ourselves. And we say being involved in the coaching programs gives you that permission to prioritize yourself. And I think that's really nice because, like you said, we're so used to not prioritize ourselves. And then you are involved in some kind of coaching. It's like, okay, that's like my job now to prioritize myself. And you get that even though we shouldn't need that permission, of course, in the first place, but that's how we are. Another very big thing you mentioned that I want to highlight, how your self-dialogue and self-talk changed, you know, like you said, from that inner critic voice, always criticizing and even saying something really negative about yourself. We always say changing inner critic voice to inner cheerleader voice. So for me, it's so beautiful to hear, because if we are our own cheerleaders, again, we progress, we have this, support from our own selves to move forward. So you obviously said that it has changed, but could you like really say that now you don't use that inner critic voice at least as much, and you use more inner cheerleader voice?
Yeah, definitely not near as much. And when I do it, I start to notice it like right away, whereas I think before I would just say all this stuff in my mind and I wouldn't even really be conscious that I was saying that to myself, but then it would just shape, and impact everything I did, the rest of the day into like unhealthy choices, and so
Yes.
like now when I start to hear it, then I can stop it, if you will.
Yes.
And I used to think like, well, trying to do an inner cheerleader voice, like that sounds intuitive, but I can't lie to myself, I'm not where I want to be and things like that. But I learned to like think about it more positively and focus on the good things that I'm doing and recognize the progress that I am making and focus on those things. And it helped me just totally change my outlook.
It's so amazing. If we focus on positive, we manifest more of it, and vice versa. If we focus what we don't have, if we focus on the lack of something, that's more what we manifest. So it works both ways. So thinking in a positive way is really empowering and helps us to move forward. So Heather, another thing you mentioned that weight loss was one of your biggest goals to start with, and because you discovered this mindset missing puzzle piece and working on your emotional and mental well-being, your goals really has changed, right? Like, just maybe you can tell people what was the shift in your head from being very focused on that weight loss to focused on overall wellness. What was that shift?
Yeah, I mean, that was huge for me because, I felt like one of those people that is always really ruled by the scale, and it's like if I was, trying to eat well and exercise, and I'm not seeing as much movement on the scale as I want to see yet, then I would just get very defeated, and it was really when I realized my problem was more mental. And I think when it really hit me was when I became so much more self-aware of the bad self-talk
Yeah.
that I realized, you know, basically I've got to fix this or I'm never going to get there, and I've got to really like love myself. And then that just really changed my outlook. And then for the first time in my life, I wasn't so focused on like losing X pounds in Y days. I was like, I need, it was more like, I'm going to get there, but I will never get there if I'm not happy along the journey, And so it was like, I always knew in my head, you can't just all of a sudden lose a bunch of weight. But at the same time, I still wanted that,
Yes.
and it wasn't until I felt like that wasn't my number one desire, that then I could just kind of be more happy in my journey and then just let the weight take care of itself.
Yeah, you're using our words for sure. That's exactly how we look at it, and so happy to be able to transfer this feeling to you. So yes, we always say enjoy the journey instead of destination, and it has to be enjoyable. So, do you enjoy yourself right now? Working out, eating healthier foods? Do you enjoy it?
I do, yeah. And it's like if I, don't work out or I, don't have the best meal choice, I find myself like craving, wanting that next meal to be like a good, healthy meal, or, to do that workout because I feel better when I do it. So yeah, I noticed myself wanting that.
Amazing. It's another huge win. Then we start craving something was good for us, because we used to sometimes crave, bad things. But once we shift that, it's just then it becomes a lifestyle. And that's what we are here for, not some quick fix, not some diet. So many wins, besides everything we spoke about. I think one of the most important one is that self-awareness that you mentioned quite a few times during this conversation. Because once we are aware, about the root causes, once we are aware about that inner dialogue, we can take control back and we can change it into a positive way. So last question, Heather, if someone is sitting on the fence thinking about coaching, what would you tell to that person?
Yeah, I would tell them there's a reason why they're searching, and it's because nothing, something's there that hasn't been uncovered. And, it's for them to find what they're looking for on their journey. They should do this because it's kind of uncovering that missing piece to get you there, and you'll be a lot happier. Honestly, I remember that was one of the things I told you guys too at the beginning of this, was I wanted to feel happier, and I do. I really do.
Amazing, Heather. I think that was one of the best advice ever I heard, because you're right. If someone is searching, something is missing. So it's time to take action. So if you are watching and thinking about taking action, take Heather's advice and take that leap of faith. So Heather, thank you so much for joining us and sharing your journey. And it's very, very inspiring for me to hear. So I'm very sure that other people watching this will be inspired as well. So thank you so much and see you soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.